arriving in the UK from Guyana, the Caribbean, North America, or elsewhere, start your journey with ease and comfort by choosing First Class Travel Service, one of UK's leading providers of premium airport transfers. Enjoy a smooth, stress-free arrival by booking your comfortable and reliable airport taxi before you arrive. With affordable rates and exceptional service, we cover all major UK airports, including Heathrow, Gatwick, Manchester, Birmingham, and many more. Wherever you land, we guarantee a seamless door-to-door experience to and from any UK airport. For your peace of mind, all our drivers are fully DBS checked and cleared, ensuring a safe and trustworthy service from the moment you arrive. Our friendly staff will meet and greet you in the airport arrival hall, assist with your luggage, and escort you to one of our luxurious vehicles. So wait no longer. We're ready to look after you from the moment you arrive in the UK. You can contact us via email info@firstclasstravelservice.co.uk, office phone +4 4195 2287 176, WhatsApp +4 479 136 0576 5 or +4 479 009 50171, or simply fill in our request, a quote form, at www.firstclasstravelservice.co.uk. Travel with confidence. Travel first class.
Got to find a solution to this pollution. Oh, oh, oh. Got to find a solution to this pollution. Yeah. Got to find a solution to this pollution. Oh, got to find a solution to this pollution. Poor man, I feel let go out. The poor man I feel that here. The poor man I feel let go. The poor man feel that here. Gas gone up, bus fare gone up, rent gone up, phone bill gone up. Light bill gone up, tax gone up, car parts gone up, and we can't take the fuss, and there has got to be a solution to this pollution. Yeah, gotta find a solution to this pollution. We're growing, gotta find a solution to this pollution. Whoa, 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 whoa. Gotta find a solution to this pollution. Only the poor man I feel, yeah. The poor man I feel, oh, the poor man feels, I know. Only him feels, yeah. Cause the picnic they're hungry, and there has got to be a solution to this pollution right now. Yeah. Got to find a solution to this pollution. Promises won't help. You got to find a solution to this pollution. We've been waiting for a solution to this pollution. Only the poor man I feel it, yeah. Only them I feel it, oh. Only the poor man I feel it, yeah. Only him I feel it, oh. Only the poor man I feel it every time. Only the poor man feel it, yeah. Only the poor man I feel it, yeah. Keep on feeling everything I hear feeling.
Truth and truth alone. So the truth will reveal you now. You see their faces, but you never know their thoughts. Every baby knows that talk is deep, so deep. You see their actions, but you never know their reactions. Time and time alone will prove the story, and every eyes will see. Truth will reveal, the truth will reveal things that are hidden. I said the things that them high deep down inside. Truth will reveal, the truth will reveal what's in their hearts. What is in their hearts? Oh yeah. Say the truth alone. I said the truth will reveal you now. I said the truth will reveal. Even like the truth them tried to hide from long time gone. But you and I know that looks at this even. Remember to say, still waters run deep. So watch it how you're running steep. Time and time alone will prove the story, and every eyes will see. Truth will reveal, the truth will reveal things that are hidden. I said the things that them high deep down in Babylon. Truth will reveal, the truth will reveal. What's in their hearts? What is in their hearts? Oh. Say the truth will reveal. I know the truth will reveal you now. Oh, expose them. Expose them. Truth will reveal.
The truth will reveal. Hey, morning. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is 7 hours 38 on the 21st day of July in the year 2026. The truth will reveal, and the truth will have to be revealed. You can't run from the truth. What I said, the truth doesn't need legs, or it doesn't need help. It is 22 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour. It's Tuesday, the 21st day of July in the year 2026. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I'm your host, Kidaki Amsa. I'm Share the Life. Just share the life. Call a friend, tell a friend that we're on. I'm not satisfied with the numbers. You know me, I can be a very discontented person. Yes, my heart long. Right? Give me an inch, I want a whole yard. I always want more because will you give me enough? So the number of persons that seen on the live this morning, they are not enough yet. Call a friend, tell a friend. Hit up a friend, tell a friend that Mr. Amsterdam is here and he's waiting. I'm waiting, man. I'm waiting on y'all to really share the live and, join the program and so on and so forth. You know, the more things change, the more they remain the same. The more things change, the more they remain the same in this country. We're so peaceful of people. We're such a loving people that we love even the good, the bad, and the ugly. Why are we still quiet in this country? With all the revelations that we've had in the last 48 hours or so. Huh? Why? Sometimes when I think about the way Guyanese behave and the way Guyanese accept abuse, I seriously, I have no choice but to tell you it drains my energy. It really is a depressing thing, you know. It's very, very depressing. Share the life. Share the life, man. Share the life. Share the life. In the meantime, let me remind you that emancipation is approaching quickly. And if you're looking for some nice African clothes, as we like to say, to go out there on Emancipation Day or even to come to Buxton on the 31st of July or wherever you want to go, whatever you plan with your emancipation time, call up H&E Collection. You can contact Miss Helen on 6220748. H&E Collection. Call Miss Helen 6220748 and you'll get plus size clothes from her. You get some good, nice African clothing from her. You'll also get fashion brands such as Celebrity Pink, right? And On 34, Style and Company. Yes, you'll get a lot of fashionable clothing from her. Popular brands, and definitely you'll get the African clothing. So again, call Miss Ellen on 6220748 and organize to get your African clothing and accessories and so on and so on. Right? Go do just that so that you can look dapper, as we like to say. Look dapper for emancipation events. Don't be left out. Good. She also has shoes. She also has footwear. And so when you get there, you can see what kind of footwear and so on she has. Size 14 to 28. Big and tall women, check her out. Good. Check her out. Check her out. Good. Remember that. And if you're looking for some good meat and thing, you can call Harris Butchery. You can check out Harris Butchery in the West Randburg Market. Is it west or east? I know direction here. Right, but the market right there down Cemetery Road, just before you cross over. What's the front road or back road? It sounds like front road. I don't know Georgetown good, you know. Strange enough. I don't ever claim to know Georgetown well. And of course, it has to do with me not taking, I'd say me not taking the city seriously. I grew up in Kitty. I spent some of my younger years in Kitty. We used to walk from David Street, David and Alexander Street, Kitty there, and go right down to Company Park. Who knows where Company Park is? If y'all know where Company Park is, tell me about two, what should I say, landmarks that you can identify Company Park by. Good? But we used to walk and go all the way down at Company Park there for school. So, again, you can tell me perhaps which primary school I attended in the city. If I had to walk from David and Alexander Street, Kitty, to Company Park to go to primary school, which primary school that was? Good. So I perhaps know that side of Georgetown, Kitty, Alberton, Queenstown, Church Street, Bowden Market area. Yeah, we walked through those areas. You knew those areas. Was the Carmichael Street area, the Botanical Gardens. No, this is not the Botanical. This is the Promenade Gardens. Yeah, we know. I know those areas better. What monumental Warden talking about? St. George's. Yes, John C. Paul. Bye. I want to believe. Anyhow, let me don't say that. Yes, but I went to St. George's Primary. There are many folks who do not know St. George's as a primary school because they grew up in the period knowing St. George's Community High. Right? But St. George's was a primary school. I attended St. George's Primary School. I did common entrance at St. George's Primary School. And from there, I went to Woodford Avenue. Right. So I left Company Park and I went to Woodford Avenue at Richard Ishmael Secondary. I think maybe that was the first year it was being called Richard Ishmael Secondary, because prior it was Indian Education Trust College, right? And then it was changed to Richard Ishmael. I went to that school in the time of Richard Ishmael, right? The name change. Right, so I know that section of Georgetown fairly okay, but when you come to South and so on and so forth, I don't know those areas. Despite the fact I spent a few months. Yeah, Tocqueville. I spent a few mornings in Tocqueville because my sister lived there for some time when she was in the army and so on. So she and a army colleague, I think, in fact, that lady was my cousin-in-law. Yes, my cousin-in-law. My cousin-in-law. They lived in Tocqueville there, and I spent a few mornings in Tocqueville. So I can't claim to know Tocqueville well. I can't claim to know. Maybe that is what they call South Georgetown well. I don't know those areas too good. Right. John Paul said the Indian Arrival Monument Garden. No, that is not where it is really. The two landmarks at Company Park would be St. George's Cathedral. I said it's tallest freestanding wooden building or something like that. And right opposite the St. George's Cathedral is the non-aligned monument. Right, the non-aligned monument. With those, it's 4 or 5 busts. Right, 4 or 5 busts. On the northern side of that, opposite the non-aligned monument, is where you'll find the National Library. On the western side of the non-aligned monument, that's opposite again, you will find the Bank of Guyana. Behind the Bank of Guyana, you have the National Museum. Opposite that, you have Fogarty's. And, I can tell you the whole area, maybe, with my eyes closed. Because that was my ramping ground, right? That is the area that I took my education. Those are the days of Salt and Pepper down Rob Street and 110 corner, where Sharma building was, right? So the possibilities I must of course come into here on the Metropole Cinema watching bicycle or doing some other things with bicycle. as a youth man. Yeah. But that's an aside. Share the life. Share. This morning, sometimes you don't know. You don't know if you want to go hard or you want to go light. You want to take it light. Honestly, I don't know. Right? I'm conflicted because there's so many things coming at us this morning that you ask yourself, where do we start? Where do we end? As a matter of fact, you ask yourself, how did we get here? Yesterday, I sat and I did a little projection based on the numbers that were coming out of the crisis center, if I can call it that, in relation to the MV Burima disaster. And I said to you that if there were more than 50% or almost 50% of the people found not listed on the map, then the projection is that closer to 200 persons were on that vessel. Closer to 200 persons were on that vessel. And based on recent reports, I'm patting myself on my back. I'm patting myself on my back because based on reports, they're saying a review of video footage has shown that at least 179 persons were on that vessel. Right? I think 179, yes. At least 179 persons boarded that vessel. And again, I'm going to argue that I don't think they get it. It's not accurate. It's not accurate. Because I'll tell you why I know it's not accurate. I spent about 2 or 3 years in Bartica working as a clerk of work for Phyllis Bacchus. She was doing government contracts at the time, right? And so I traversed the river there. I traveled with the ferry on a couple of occasions. The best ride for me, however, was speedboat. I love a speedboat. Anyways, but I know that the boat will stop what I want to call midstream to allow people to get on and get off. People who couldn't get to the stelling or people who made their prior arrangements not to get to the stelling, when the boat get into certain areas, either most times they slow. Speedboats come alongside them and people get on board. Right? People get on board. Whether they're going or they're coming. I have seen that happen. And so my assumption here and now is that you must have had some boarding like that taking place, possibly on this vessel. Because if the manifest is saying 33, and we already found that 50% of the persons rescued, found alive, weren't listed. Little mathematical projections could tell you what you're looking at. So the numbers the government is giving us, for me, I'll tell Guyanese, add another 30% perhaps for, I don't know, add another 30% upward. That would be my thing. And so we're talking about hundreds, not hundreds, in excess of 100 persons unaccounted for thus far. In excess of 100 persons unaccounted thus far. And in its usual haste to appease situations and treat Guyanese as though they're really, really stupid, like Bar Jaguar had said previously, the powers that be are moving ahead with a lot of haste to, I want to say, pay off people, give people hush money, shut people up, coerce people into silence or into not speaking the truths and so on. And we can't, as a people, allow that to happen. Too often, when these disasters strike, too often when government fails, when system fails, we allow the government to use our very resources against us. of our resources against us. Taking the state's money to give to victims of these mishaps before a thorough investigation is poor governance, is unaccountability. It reduces the possibility of really finding and addressing the people who are culpable. The speed with which the government moved to remove, to send on leave, to suspend the management team that is responsible for the for MV Barima, the speed with which they move to send home the management team is a good thing. It's a good thing. But the question is that standard only reserved for the lesser minions? Is that standard only reserved for the lesser minions? Yesterday, I started talking about accountability. I'm going to spend some time on that again this morning, because I'm saying if it is the management team could be sent home to facilitate an impartial investigation, then the subject minister also should be sent home to facilitate an impartial investigation, because there are many reports of this very subject minister bullying the staff of Transport and Harbors Department, bullying the crew of vessels like the Barima, to allow family, friends, and favorites to board even when they decide that the boat has reached capacity. Even when the crew says the boat has reached capacity. In many instances, they complain of orders coming from the minister's office that Tom Jones and Harry Lal and Patsy Cline and all of them must be allowed to board, despite the fact that they have declared that boat has reached capacity. One of the things I'm hearing, one of the things reported to me is that the safety officer, there's a name, I can't remember if that is the boarding master or mistress, but the safety officer, let me call that person the safety officer, did flag the vessel as overloaded and said that he or she was going someplace and come back. And if they return and they found the boat still overloaded, what actions they were going to take. And in typical fashion, the boat left port before the safety officer returned without reducing the number of passengers or cargo on the boat. Right? That right there is a red flag. So it's easy to send home everybody. But then let's talk about a lack of accountability and ultimately where the buck stops. I'm going to say again, ultimately the buck stops at the minister with responsibility for that sector. Why? They have proven, for example, that they have control mechanisms in place. Right? Those of you who understand management will know that, I hope I remember them. In management, you have planning, influencing and controlling, you have organizing, right? Well, else I can't remember, but I want to focus on control. As a manager, you have to have control. You have to be in the know. You have to have ready access to information, because decision making is based on information. And so here we are, after people turning up, not listed on the manifest, they decided to go to the video. Right? They decided to go to the video to see if they can verify how many persons boarded. So I'm asking this question. Because before I ask this question, when they went to the video, they realized that way more people boarded that were listed on the manifest. Right? And if that is the case, the question is this the first time you are using? Is it the first time you are using the video to ascertain how many persons were boarding the vessel and whether or not the reported ticket sales or the manifest corresponded with the number of persons who boarded the vessel based on the video evidence? Are you telling me that you have installed a surveillance system just to say that there's a surveillance system? Or periodically, internal auditors, for example, will pull the footage from a particular day's operation, examine it against the reported ticket sales or the manifest. And if that were the case, then you're saying to me that there's no control from the minister right down maybe to the crew member, right? There's been no show of control, no initiative to say, we have to do audits ever so often to see what is happening. And audits are not only financial audits. They got all kinds of audits. You got to audit the operation to know if it's efficient or not. So why weren't video footage from previous occasions examined against ticket sales or against a manifest to determine if what was being reported is what was taking place? That's a failure. It's a failure from the top to the bottom. It is not enough for the minister to sit up there and instruct people who must board and who mustn't board, and whose authority must be bypassed and disrespected and disregarded. It is also important for the minister to exhibit and exercise control by having periodic audits done to determine if the management of that state entity were doing what the management of that state entity were expected to do. And so for me, that is a failing. It's a failing on the part of the minister. And so the minister should be held accountable even for that little failing. I mean, some people might call it little. So for that alone, for me, the minister must go home. And I tell you yesterday, I really don't care, because the fact is they're going to send you home and they're going to put another fool there, and the fool going to do the same stupidness. But I'm talking about the failings of the minister. Three years ago, thanks to MP Ganesh Mahi Paul, 3 years ago or so, right? 3 years ago or so, that minister stood in the National Assembly and he spoke about a vessel or two vessels coming from India at exorbitant cost to the Guyanese people. And one of those vessels was to replace the MV Barima on the route, was to take over the route of the MV Barima, because it was recognized that MV Barima was an old lady approaching her 90s. And from my understanding, that vessel came. But it was never put in use. It never replaced MV Barima, for the simple reason that that minister, and I'm saying that minister, because he has responsibility for the sector, failed to have constructed at the necessary ports of landing and departure the roll-on, roll-off facility. It's poor planning on the part of the minister and the government that the minister represents for a vessel to be bought at exorbitant costs and for 3 years of not being put in use, for the simple fact that they failed to construct the necessary infrastructure to accommodate the vessel. For that, the minister should go home. Or let the minister tell us that he has submitted the budgets and the requests for the construction of this roll-off or these roll-on, roll-off facilities, and his government has refused to fund them. Let the minister tell us that. Let the minister tell us that. How can you spend hundreds of millions of dollars in the name of solving a problem, and 3 years later the problem is still looking at you in the face and it has resulted in disaster, and the minister should not be held accountable? Y'all make it make sense. So yes, send home the management team because they might want to tamper with evidence and so on. But send home the minister because he has proven to be incompetent in terms of managing that sector or that particular entity of the state. Send home the minister. But I'm willing to sit here and bet that the minister is going no place. The minister is going no place because Guyanese will not do anything to ensure that the minister is removed from office. And as a matter of fact, the government, because the government is responsible for policies. The minister is a helper to the president, appointed by the president. And so, quite frankly, the failing of the minister is the failing of the president, and the failing of the president is the failing of his government. This is not just about the Transport and Harbors Department. No. And the government, through their ministers and their mouthpieces, they are trying as hard as they can to make it appear as though this is a Transport and Harbors Department problem. It's not a Transport and Harbors problem. The result of the incompetence has shown up itself at the Transport and Harbors Department. Can you imagine the financial loss? We know the scale, or we assume we know the scale of the loss of lives as a result of this disaster. But can you imagine the financial loss that this country has suffered over the years? Because oversight of the Transport and Harbors Department is lacking. Because if we are saying there were about 200 persons on this vessel, with only 133 accounted for, we're talking about 67 persons, let's say. on that vessel as a result of corrupt practices. Can you imagine how much money is lost to that department annually? And what that money could have been used for? I don't know how often that boat travels to the Northwest District, right? I'm not even sure I know the fare to the Northwest District on that boat. I think is it $15,000? What is the fare to the Northwest District on that boat? Is it about $15,000? If you're talking 67 persons on every trip, at a rate of $15,000, you're talking about $1,005,000. Can you imagine a state agency losing approximately $1 million every trip that boat makes? How many trips does it make? Oh, $5,000. Rastaman said $5,000. Right? So we go with $5,000. And let's assume we got 60 persons. That's $300,000 a trip, right? Assuming that boat makes a mere 24 trips per year, we're talking about $7+ million, 7.2 there, about $1 million lost per year. And I know that it will make way more than 24 trips per year. Project the amount of losses due to corrupt practices, due to a lack of control. And if those loopholes were to be plugged, how much more money would have been available to upkeep and maintain the assets of the Transport and Harbors Department? I want to keep it basic, Viren. I don't want to complicate it. But I just want us to understand these basic things, these little things, and see how they add up. And if you were to hire somebody to manage your business, and you found out that they're causing you to lose $300,000 every time your vehicle goes out there, will you keep them on the job? I doubt it. And that's how we have to see governance. If governance is causing us to lose revenue as a nation or as citizens of this nation, then we have to get rid of them. And just as how there is lack of control at the Transport and Harbors Department, as we're finding out now, there's lack of control in the mining sector, there's lack of control in the logging sector, there's lack of control in every sector of this society, because the PPP has exhibited that it doesn't care too much about managing the nation's resources effectively and efficiently. What it cares more about is about kickbacks and photo opportunities and creating opportunities to its friends, favorites, and families. Do you know the amount of resources we lose annually Take Exxon, for example. Up until now, this government can't definitively tell you how much oil Exxon has access to. They can't even conclusively tell you how much oil Exxon is really producing because they have no system in place for proper audits. Compound that with what is happening in the mining sector with the Canadian mining companies. Compound the Chinese in bauxite. Compound with the logging industry. And you'll see the amount of resources that we are losing as a nation because this government has no control mechanism in place, or it doesn't treat with seriousness having control. As long as they have access to and are satisfied with what they can steal and corrupt, it would seem as though that's okay with them. And the people who facilitate them can do as they wish. So this tragedy is not only about the river mishap, the ocean river mishap. It's not only about the MV Burima sinking and the lives that have been lost. It's a national tragedy from that point of view, but it's also a national tragedy from the fact that this government appears to have no control, or perhaps has no interest in controlling the assets of the state to ensure that maximum benefits come to the citizens of this country. And for that alone, Guyanese should be up in arms against this government. For that alone. Because if they were to exhibit and ensure the necessary control mechanisms in place and proper management and accountability and so on, then there will be much more to improve the lives and livelihoods of Guyanese. So like I started by saying, I don't understand why it is this place is still peaceful. I seriously don't understand why we are peaceful at this hour of the day. Why we're talking about a day of mourning and why we are talking about holding vigils. Those vigils should be protests. The day of mourning should be a day of strike against this government. Let us mourn like that. Don't mourn, organize. Organize a day of strike against this government and demand accountability. Organize a day of strike against this government and demand the dismissal of folks like Ejel. Because they are failing the people. That is what we should be talking about. When you're done mourning for the day, what next? When you're done mourning for the day, what next? Things are back to normal. The government continues to do as the government does. Ejel continues to do as Ejel does. And the poor man, the underdogs, the disrespected, the majority of the people continue to suffer the way they do. They're going to rush to visit the families. Ali say, brace yourselves. Brace yourselves for days ahead. Yes, families must brace themselves for days ahead because as the days pass, you will find out who is dead and who remains missing and who is unaccounted for because some of us, listen, I am sure there were people on that vessel who did not indicate to their relatives or friends, listen, I'm going to Northwest. You know, they got some people just like move. And I am sure there are people there who just decide, me is my own big man, me is my own big woman. I go in and join this vessel because I go into Region 1. I got some things to look after in Region 1. Sometimes I even got beneath for going to reach in Region 1. I go into Region 1. And they would not have, there are many persons who might not have reported their planned movement to relatives. And so brace yourself because you're likely to start seeing missing persons posters. Right? You're likely to start seeing missing persons posters. And so a lot of people are not going to get closure. Because we know where we're missing relatives are. We know if they're there at the bottom of the water with the MV Barima or they're there somewhere else. You know, I sit back and I sometimes I don't know, I am an overthinker perhaps. And I'm asking myself, because from what I'm understanding, it maybe took about 7 hours. It maybe took about 7 hours before the first rescue happened or something like that. Because people had to spend time locating the area that the vessel was in distress. Like, seriously? As a tool to fight against piracy, the Granger government had started to, maybe through the Ministry of Agriculture, import and equip fishing vessels with trackers. I'm calling them trackers. I don't know what the technical names are, but I'm calling them trackers. And so at any time you could pinpoint where a vessel is or where a vessel was last seen. You are telling me that, and this was for private people because these are fishing folks. You are telling me that a national asset controlled by the Transport and Harbors Department doesn't have technologies such as trackers that you can pinpoint in the shortest possible time where the vessel is. You get a distress call and you have to search to find out where this distress is taking place. Am I understanding it clearly? Is that what we're being told? Because the example is only last night, I think I saw a post that says some fishermen, maybe from the Essequibo coast or wherever, were able to locate the site of the MV Barima sinking. Huh? You're saying to me that that vessel wasn't equipped with somebody's saying GPS systems? I mean, yes, an almost 90-year-old vessel would not have come with that kind of technology because that kind of technology might not have even been available almost 90 years ago. But are we saying that we're not upgrading our technology in our national assets? A clear sign of incompetence. And if you're incompetent, you gotta go home. Are you there only to think about which contract you could give who and line your pocket? How in heaven's name? An ocean-going vessel that takes, I understand the trip takes about 12 hours, I don't know. A vessel responsible for transporting your citizens and cargo, etc. You do not have a way of tracking its movements. As a matter of fact, talking about that again, if you had such a technology on your vessels and you exhibited control and you exercise control, you could actually look and tell whether or not a vessel has been departing from the expected or regular, what we call it, path, whether it has been stopping and how long it has been stopping outside of established docking areas. Those are things that you could tell. Somebody's calling me. I don't know what they're calling me about. Good morning. Yes. 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 Okay. Do you need a receipt? To what? To what amount? Okay. All right. Yes. Sure. Okay. Yes. Sorry for that little distraction. It's all in the name of business. I gotta do business a while thing, because y'all didn't contributing nothing. I gotta eat, right? But not the way other people that say I gotta eat. I ain't prepared to go down them road to eat. I do legitimate business, right? So if you have that technology installed, you could actually recognize that something is not right here. When a particular crew is on this vessel, it makes unscheduled stops. It deviates from the regular path. That is management. But when a vessel issues a distress call and you got to spend hours, you see, when I talk about the incompetence of this government and so on, and why the government should go, I mean, the PPP chose and so on. I know that it's come and cost me and say, but what was the response to this disaster? Have you has any of you paid attention to the response to this disaster? Because up until now, I am saying it was uncoordinated. I think it was chaotic. National assets again. The Army is supposed to have 3 helicopters, only 1 functional. And the minister with responsibility for the Army can't tell you why only 1 functional. Because since I heard him thinking, I say the Army should be out there with what we call them, floodlights on the helicopter, lighting up the river, lighting up the ocean. But you can't get them with floodlights out there lighting up. It's only 1 working. And from my information, a lot of time was lost because they had to call out people from their homes. They had to call out people. Previously, the Army had what you call standby, a standby battalion, a standby troop, whatever they call them. You used to have standbys. In cases of emergencies like those, there was a standby platoon, let me call it that could have gotten, as we said, jump into action immediately. I am challenging the head of the Guyanese Defense Force. I'm challenging the Chief of Staff. I'm challenging the Commander-in-Chief to tell us if on that fateful night they had a standby platoon. I'm challenging them to tell us how long it took to mobilize personnel to respond to that distress call. Because time is critical in saving lives when you get such calls. They whittle down the Army to nothing. They whittle down the assets of the Army to nothing. And so in times like these, it is laid bare the failings, the incompetence, the lack of understanding of the importance of certain systems in running and managing the affairs of a country. And here we are today, suffering the loss of more than 100 lives, I assume, because of those failings, and failings which we have allowed to continue over a long period of time. A marine specialist asked me to ask them, were they functional ballast pumps? I think that is what it's called. If y'all in this business, y'all tell me what you call the pumps that's supposed to be really managing water on the boats. Ballast pumps? Were they functioning? Because there's a video circulating with the boat taking water. There's a video of the boat taking water. Were the pumps functional? Because in the words of the marine specialist, hey, anytime you're operating a vessel of that nature without a ballast pump, it's a floating coffin you're operating. You're just waiting to die. So the focus here cannot only be on the management team at Transport and Harbors. There has to be a wider investigation, impartial. Quite frankly, I don't want to see any single Guyanese near that investigation except they're providing evidence and being interrogated. That's how much I don't trust us anymore. At least COI is under this government. I don't want to see no Guyanese near this one. But then again, you can't trust the internationals, because when the RSS had come, they say Azzuddin Mohammed had no part to play in the murder of paper shards. But we're hearing that despite the fact that this country has expended so much money to bring the RSS, which cleared or absolved Azzuddin Mohammed of what should I say? Blame in the murder of paper shards. We're hearing several years after that, we have evidence pointing that Azzuddin Mohammed is involved, and we are reopening this case and we're going to hung him down. So I wonder, do we really get value for money as citizens of this country? And since I know we ain't getting value for money, what will we do to hold the government accountable? Y'all tell me. It's 11 minutes past 8 o'clock. Oh, the lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call. Let me understand, or y'all help me to understand why this country is still in peace. Why this government is still in office. And more particularly, why Minister, what they call it, the Great Bishop Ejil is still on the job. Y'all help me to understand that, because I can't seem to understand it. And for those persons who have lost, well, so far, whose relatives were on that boat, that vessel, those persons whose relatives were on that vessel, whether they have been accounted for or not accounted for, begging y'all, don't make the government come to you and offer you money. You're going to end up like the relatives of the children from the Madja Dorms fire. Take your time, grieve your grief, lawyer up, and deal with the government on this one, because they're more than culpable. Call you on. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Morning, Carlos. See that thing that you call for converting day of mourning, converting all of those things, convert them into protests. You know what the politicians gonna say? Let's not make this political. It's time we stop this bullshit in Guyana, and we stop it. It's time we stop that narrative of, oh, this is not political. I'm speaking on both sides of the fence and the entire whole goddamn perimeter of the fence. It's time that stop. Because you are nothing more than showing defeatist. You are showing that you're weak when you say those things. That is what you're doing. Instead of, and you're right, instead of us going out there and sit down on candlelight vigil and what's that? Protests. Because the subject minister is guilty as charged. Last night I heard the prime minister when he was asked, when Edgel was asked, will you resign? People are calling for you to resign. The prime minister say, "Let me answer this question." He is appointed by the appointed by the elected, and the whole bundle of nonsense, like saying it's only the president could tell him to resign. No, anyone with integrity will do that. And again, I'm going to say that Sharma Solomon cited where disasters happen and subject ministers resigned. These people are full of nothing. And indeed, when I saw those fishermen pushing stick and what's that, I was like, what the hell? Where are the instrumentation to tell whenever your vessel disappear? Look, my little van I have here, they could tell when I mash brakes, they could tell the speed I go at, they could tell if I run over. It's so, the instrument is so, the technology is so to point that it could tell everything. My vehicle could be off, it could be towed, and they could tell where this vehicle has been deposited after it has been towed. They could tell how many times I mashed brake. They could even go as far as to say if I had on my seatbelt after 3 minutes. And you tell me that a vessel wasn't outfitted with these things that could manage your asset and movement of your asset? This government, I tell you, Guyanese people, I tell y'all, y'all need to stop. And politicians are going to say it again to all you. Stop the nonsense of let's not make this political. Stop the nonsense. You're being defeated. You show weakness when you say those nonsense. Have a good day.
Thank you for your call. The lines remain on 6225933 is the number to call. We have on our screen here the last voyage. A story of negligence, corruption, and accountability. They all come together to create the disaster that we have. Call you on. Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. First thing first, Flash is responsible for what he say, not how you guys interpret. I'm going to run my mouth and take an extra minute this morning because I have 3 pages. I must complete it. My three page. I will try to narrow it down. You play a song this morning, Solution. But look under that word and you will see what you have to do to represent that word solution. Under that word is sacrifice. Solution. Black people already born to represent that word. They're born with strength and power to represent that word solution. But what they are doing at the moment, they are selling it out, their power and strength to Mohammed and Jagyu. That's why they go always air that song solution. Let me say this to some of your supporters yesterday. They said, Mr. Amsterdam, correct Flash. It is not Campbell, use those words, it's James Bond. But let me say this to you guys. Flash Garden knew if James Bond put out those words. But listen to me. I mentioned that if you guys understand the meaning of those words, you guys would have never sing that song and represent that song. James Bond said he would pay anybody who turned these words into a song. Before the opposition leader look for vote, he looking for sheep and goat. Did anybody stick up and say, wait. You know what James Bond and PPP tell him, Mohammed, stop your nonsense. Continue to do to get black people vote away from the black man party. That's what those words mean. Mr. Campbell make a video and he sing the first part of the vote. That is where I come in and said Campbell should never utter those words, because if he realize what those words mean, look for vote. It's for look for black man vote. Continue. Take away vote from PNC and WP. My opinion, but it is right. The MPs, all the male MP right now, they soft. You could tell me, MP, you guys make law. The president have to sign it. And you go make the government tell you cannot go there. If Flash Garden was an MP, fire and smoke up in the area night. You all could say anything about 80. 80 does demonstrate demand and sacrifice. 80 does make president that will run to the next country. Because them is the people. Them is calling the shots. It's years and years Guyanese people only sit down for the program. And a gentleman said yesterday, Flash Garden, your racial, you stay like Jagdio. Shame on you, my black brother. Flash Garden is not racial. For all them things, when Cody man said plane and I ups him, I challenged him. He said, when the island gas, then they will give black man money. He said, make sure me get some money for get from island gas, because I come and put fire and smoke up in the night time. Because God killed night time. Every year we only talking, and I don't want to go outside and put fire and smoke up in the air and stop the runaway train so that black people and their children would not become slaves again. And are you dancing and singing that nonsense song? The opposition leader looking for vote must go and look for vote. It is time for us to get it right. The solution, that word solution, you have to make up your mind and represent that word, demonstrate that word solution. Are you born with strength and power? Before me go, why you believe God choose one black man for feather cross for a minute or two? Why? Because we send a message that black people, things going to happen to you, but are you have strength already for stop it? And black people in Guyana refuse to stop it. Because you know why? Them two coolie boy, Jagdio and Mohammed, them buy black man's strength away for keep black man and them children in the bottom of the ladder. It is time for you listen to Flash Garden. Go there. You're not going to get 50 people. One man could put fire and smoke up in the night time and go home, go and relax and send message. Thank you very much for time.
Thank you for your call. You see, the question of corruption is being raised in terms of runnings on the boats, and people joining the boat without being on the manifest and so on. Call you on. Good morning.
Hello. Morning, Brother Gadaki. Morning, Brother Gadaki. Blessings. Last night I was listening to the Prime Minister's response to the disaster, and he called it an incident. Does he know the meaning of the word incident? That's a national tragedy. To lose that amount of people in a country with under 700,000 people or 800,000 people, that's a national disaster. I haven't seen a flag being flown at half mast. Nothing at all. Right? Wasn't that ship equipped with radar? At least you should have had radar on it. Why did it take so long for the Coast Guard and Army to reach those people? Right? I know about going to Bartica back in time. And when you turn about that Parika's telling, right? You're supposed to, even the speedboats and all, There's supposed to be somebody there who's supposed to take everybody's name who's going on those vessels. And people walk on those vessels without even being recorded. I know that, right? Something has got to, and Mr. Edghill, the arrogance of Mr. Edghill. When is he going to? This is supposed to be a man of God. This is supposed to be a man of the cloth to have sympathy and love for a fellow human being. Where does he get this arrogance and this ignorance from? Because it's unbelievable. In a time of tragedy, you hostile towards people. I have never seen Mr. Ezra speak to anybody with calmness. He always has this booming in his voice, this loudness that you're supposed to be scared of him when he speaks. It's ridiculous, right? If any other part of the world tragedy like this happen, the minister of himself will step down. You don't have to tell him. Even he has to step down for a couple of months or something until a report has been finalized or whatever. So he's not part of it. You understand? And the prime minister telling me, oh, the team is a very good team. That's why they get extra seats and all kind of crap. That has nothing to do with what happened before yesterday. That has nothing to do with what happened yesterday before yesterday to people, right? But he's sitting down there and oh, the opposition wants to make noise. How could you call that noise? People are speaking. People don't have a right to speak out. This government has done nothing wrong. Down to Christ made mistakes when he walked the face of this earth. This government doesn't take responsibility for nothing that happens that is wrong. Everything is right that they do. If everything is right that they do, this country should be the best country on the face of this earth. We shouldn't have certain difficulties and problems. Where was the radar for the ship? Where? You telling me you got a boat like that and you don't know where it is going? There's nobody sitting down in an office seeing where this boat is going, seeing that this boat about to encounter difficulties or something. They gotta got some kind of system like that in Guyana. Because I sure they have it in the airport for planes, but they don't have it for boats. Why they don't have that same system for boats? So when it leaves the area, you know where it is headed. You see exactly where it is going. We gotta get accountability. This government needs accountability. Put aside the politics and who don't like who and who whatever. This is about people losing their lives. We gotta put aside personal pride and come together and try to solve it and make certain that an incident, as a current the prime minister, an incident like this doesn't happen again, because he sees it as an incident. I hope you got an English dictionary to verify what incident means, because that is not an incident, that's a tragedy. Thank you so much, Gaddafi.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Kadaki. One of your previous callers talked about his car being equipped with certain equipment. Yes, ships are equipped with that equipment. It is called the GMDSS system, which is the Global Maritime Distress and Safety System, where your single sideband radio, your VHF radio, your radar, your GPS itself are all hooked up in one. So whenever the ship is out at sea, everybody in any part of the world will know where you are. But I'm not sure if vessels travel in the what is called intercoastal waterways in Guyana are equipped with that. But I know in traveling overseas, your ships are equipped with the GMDSS system, the Global Maritime Distress and Safety System. So yes, ships do have that, but I'm not sure if the intercoastal waterways ships are equipped for that. That is just my contribution here this morning. Thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you for your contribution. I am sure that Quality would add some more understanding to the discourse. Caller, you are on.
Pleasant good morning, Mr. Kadaki, and to your listening audience. as of now, I wish to stand with the rest of Guyana in sympathy for those, first of all, the survivors, and then the family and relative of those who are still missing. I want to agree with all that you would have said this morning in your assessment of some of the situations facing the Transport and Highways Department and the Maritime Administration. One of the things I observe about the Guyana Transport and Highways Department, it has been diminished, it has been neglected. I came up and I had a lot of experience with the transport. I had family members working on the Transport and Highways Department. And I can tell you, the transport at some amount of standard in the days of, I had experience in the days where they had the Torani and the Makoro and the Malaria travel out on those boats. And so on, and I was telling, well, if you analyze and you check the transport from the 90s coming down, standards been dropped tremendously. With the advent of the bridge and all these manner things, you see more and more the ferry service has been neglected. Look at the condition of those stallions. We still have, in 2026, men high seas stage are chewing on board for people to come and so the vehicle, the driver and driver. So that those departments has been neglected. And that particular area where the boat load to go into the northwest, that's terrain, those conditions are deplorable. Now, in this country, we don't have respect for safety. It is all wrong. If you analyze Ghana properly, we have absolutely no respect for safety. These agencies supposed to have what you call occupation safety officers. It's supposed to have occupation safety officers on the stallion, and it's supposed to have occupation safety officers on the boat itself. Our laws dictate that. But in Guyana, if you analyze many working environments, the government don't enforce people to have safety and health committees or safety and health officers. So that is one. Look at I will give you a simple example with the flooding situation in Guyana. There's the easiest example. Year after year, we have been enduring flooding problems. And yet, even though they go to Parliament and they can't set up money spending on flooding, because the authorities love this flooding business because they believe it is an opportunity to make money. They put a little who's walk around the water, people come lampers, but they never try to do things to prevent the flooding. When you have dry season, like we have the dry season coming back now, they will not take steps to dig out the canal and so forth. Only when you rain start far, then you see them run with backhoe and couple things and say about doing clean and this type of thing. There is never a comprehensive plan to do preventive things. When disaster happens, then they run around and she wrote a couple of things that give people money because at the same time, they are making money. This situation that happened to us here now, the government, they don't know, for a set of money for compensation and to do this, but in the process, people will make a lot of money for themselves. This is why they let disaster and the tragedy. Now with the boats, you are telling me in 2023, the minister started Parliament and said that there was a boat coming from India to replace this old antiquated boat. Those boats have served their time. Those boats are not supposed to be on the water. Those boats have served their time. The Barima, the Lidina Code, the Kibin, all of them boats have given human service to Ghana. But the day is done, the time done. You cannot take a little to boat to go into the Atlantic Ocean. You gotta get proper boat. Now you let a boat come. You want a boat to go to Fort Island to do a set of structural distance for racetrack and all kind of thing and this kind of thing. In no time they went to Fort Island, spend a set of money, build up this and build up that for the boat for to Narco, spend a set of money, bringing in Lara and Wash and all everything and presenting themselves at the thing. But your own Guyanese people, you can't find money to put the facilities in place. It's 2023. The boat is somewhere in Ghana. The boat reaching Ghana sometime January. They went to Puerto Rico, beat some and do and set the table, the boat arrived. But where is the boat? The boat is not on the road. So the people in authority got to face the music. There got to be a and the mistake that they do. When people say the boat is overloaded, they make it political. They're not political. You are just saying what was the problem and what was the things that went wrong. But when somebody say the boat is overloaded, the boat, they should be making it political. And they will be defeating Ghana disaster after disaster after disaster. And if we don't done with this stupidness, next year something again, you have them people in Majo, they're showing in Majo. We laugh of it. What we put in place for them people in Majo? What we put in place after the disaster? Nothing. This thing come. So my contribution is that the authorities that are accountable and the guidance people that have met the people who are responsible and knowing authority, they have to be very accountable. What is disaster? It shouldn't be the CLC. What the ministers they that the oversight is technical people that run this operation. Technical people that have to be involved in all this thing. I see there's a set of minister all over the place. Thank you very much. Have a blessed day.
Thank you for your call. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You know, I was saying somebody raised the issue of run-ins. Yeah, you gotta get run-ins. You will get run-ins. I don't support run-ins, but the fact is the PPP and the courts create environment for run-ins. Right? They create an environment for run-ins by underpaying people, by disrespecting professionalism and all of that. Is they create the environment for run-ins? Call you on. Good morning.
A blessed good morning, Mr. Kadaki, to you and your viewing and listening audience. My contribution is one, is that in spite of all of the people, everyone's input on this boat, which I humbly respected, it means that if you want to look in the direction of this problem, the first stop you should need to is knowing that that boat has lived out its life expectancy. You don't need to go any further. That boat was built with a time span on it. And anytime that boat is been venturing into waters beyond that time span, you're putting people's lives in danger. You're putting people's lives in a compromising position, which is their lives. You know, any good lawyer who would want to represent a family member or all family members can win a case whereby if the family files a lawsuit, and I strongly support the families of those who lost their lives on that boat should collectively join and file a lawsuit against the state, because this is not accidental, as one Ejil would want to say or tell people how arrogantly he sounds. This is a clear case of neglect. This is a case whereby that you know that this can pose dangers to one's lives, and yet you still conduct an exercise by using the vessel to carry people in a vessel that has lost its integrity. Now, I would like to illustrate or demonstrate that if you're traveling on a vessel, you need to have the various systems in position, whereas all those who are on board need to have some form of identification submitted to the departure unit, as well as the boat needs to have a manifest of all of the persons who are documented who are on the boat, because at the end of the day, the captain and his staff is responsible for the lives of the people. And in case if anything goes down, one can get information who is on the boat. One can tell who is on the boat, or anyone who needs to access that information that can be easily accessed. Mr. Kadaki, it is really grieving to see that God has blessed Guyana with so much resources. Long before oil, we are a blessed country. We're very rich. And if the government want to say that the government don't have monies to purchase a new boat, that is irrelevant. That is total nonsense. Now that we got oil, Guyana is much more in a position to purchase more than one boat to go various routes of this entire country. And if the government is not doing that, it means that the government has failed in its capacity of administration wise and running this country. This has proven that the government has failed. And I would want to say, and I stand firmly behind this. My belief, because everyone has an entitled to his belief, this is a sacrifice that the government have made, because we know that this government is involved with 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 dirtiness to succeed and to get riches. I want to believe some that boat was sabotaged long before it left the shores. Because when you look at it, the posture of this government, every time something happened nationally in our country where lives is lost, look at the posture of the government. They try to hush people down. They try to use it as a political tool and all these nonsense. As previous callers said, it is time that Guyanese, and you yourself said, Mr. Gadak, this is no time for candlelight vigil and all of these things. This is a time that we should come together as a nation and tell this government who is running this country here in favor of themselves and not the people to come out and protest against this government. This is a clear case whereby government refused to adhere to the cries of the people of this country for too long. Where is the monies going? All this money that is produced from ExxonMobil and all the resources that we have. They're talking about infrastructure. That is infrastructure too. Purchasing vessels to carry people around the place is infrastructure too. You can put that down as an infrastructure is a maritime one. And before finally, those aircraft, this opportunity, we must look in the direction, use this opportunity and look in the direction of the aviation sector, who are carrying people in the interior and around this country. Those aircraft that is being operated in the various airports like Ogle, and they too are subjected to be changed. They're subjected to have new ones because those planes are very, very old as well. And they're being propped up. You know, this is a reactive. Our government is reactive. They are not proactive. Something have to happen before they do the right thing. And I think it is time that Guyanese call upon the government to be proactive instead of reactive. Mr. Kadaki, thank you very much for listening, and God bless you and the family.
Mr. Kadaki, good morning, and everyone listening. Now, Mr. Kadaki, if we the people don't come out and do something, these people gonna stay in this place and keep doing and doing as them like. And I want a message go to Mark Phillips. Mark Phillips, y'all in powerful, you know. God is the powerful person, y'all in powerful. So you could sit down and when people interview, God interview you saying now, time up, and you ain't got time for this. Y'all ain't got out there. You understand what I'm telling you? Y'all, they say, so y'all need to go. All of y'all need to go. Your government need to go. JLST, you, don't worry with you, you know. Your judgment, they come in. And you see when it come, the amount of licks you're going to get, the amount of money with you and your children got, it can't save y'all. Y'all going to see what God going to do to y'all. Y'all don't play with God. Don't trouble Zion. Y'all don't trouble Zion. You see what y'all got going on in this country? Every day some disaster. Every day. If a man ain't killing his wife, killing himself, both drowning, Adriana drowned. Right? People was being sent to kill Ronald Waddle. And y'all know because people talk and say, me ain't calling no name, but a man went on an interview with Travis saying that he lie down in his car when the gun in down the going on. Because if he make them see, them would kill it too, because he didn't know if them send he for do the killing and then turn back and send somebody else to do it and kill you when them done. Y'all arrest everybody in connection with Waddlemore though. Do it. And stop telling me about Mohammed and paper flipping shots. Tell me about Courtney Crummy Wing. Let me know I'm to age. Yanni Young, how she reaching the pool. Critics video the old pool. Clear as there is watch the video very often. And nothing, you don't see nobody in the pool. How it's reaching. Eh? Mohammed up on the grounds looking after the people that in the place. They're looking for fine bodies and y'all that the house. All I focus on is so Mohammed don't go into power come 2030. Y'all trying everything for avoid it from going in there. Y'all study the people life, what matters. We want it but Mohammed right now. Send the police them out there. Let it go. They get a couple of boats, pay them, let it go there and look for them. We ain't got time for the guy by Mohammed's place right now. Y'all doing bare nonsense. You're too powerful in this country. Y'all too powerful in this country. Something need to be done with you. Something need to be done. We the people need to come out on the streets and flood the streets.
Good morning, Kadakian listeners. You know, it's only forced to move PPP from there. I tried telling you about 5 years, telling the public about 5 years. It's only forced. They got no vote to move PPP from there. And it's not the Indian elite that's used them boat, though. It's the poor people that's used them boat. The Indian elite is stuff the boat with cargo, take the plane. That's what's happening.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, viewers. What is going on in Guyana? We have never seen this before. Every day is something, every day. If the police not killing the young people, the government discriminating against the ordinary Guyanese, taking away their land. If they talk against them, they're bringing cybercrime charges against them. It is bizarre what is going on in Guyana. Now, this boat that took off Saturday is so many conflicted stories you get in. Ezil can't get his story right. He all over the place, but the people that was there is telling the world what happened. It's a shame with all that money coming from the oil and other resources, and you got a boat, 70-something years old, still malfunctioning. Guyanese, you people need to get up. You people need to get up. You all taking things so lightly, and it's going to get worse. It is going to get worse. Ali traveling here, there, and everywhere. Here, there, and everywhere he traveling. To me, they can't govern Guyana. They cannot. All those people are doing, all the regime is doing, is looking to see how much money they can thief. For build mansions all over the place. I'll wake up, people, I'll wake up. I'll wake up. I'll wake up. My sympathy go out to the bereaving family, and may the souls, people that die, may the souls rest in peace. That is my take for today.
Anybody Kidaki morning viewers. And next day of mourning for those relatives and friends and families that lost their life in that accident, that boat accident. Well, Kidaki viewers, The most are supposed to be all for this problems is the dirty fish up, liar bishop. That is the man is supposed to all. Come on, bro. Look at the stronghold. Yeah, look at the boats that they buy for transport the people in their stronghold. Look at the boats. Come on, man. Just because it's Amerindian communities in Region 1. That is the boat that y'all will have these people traversing. Come on, man. It's embarrassing. One of the most embarrassing thing in this country. Black people and African people, the PPP have no room, no space for us. They have no room for us in this country. And if we can wake up and stop following the Mohammed and the PPP, more of this is going to happen to us. When you say you don't want the air, you got to feel. That is what's going on right now at this moment. People, they don't want to hear, they don't want to listen, they don't want to feel. So they're feeling the blunt of whatsoever they cast the vote there for. Because if they do the right thing, all of this thing could have never ever happened in this country. And all those you see who jumping up and springing up and thinking about talk about this situation, come on, man. The only party should get credit is the APNU. Because the APNU do the right thing and the APNU supporters, they done the right thing. You understand me? All who vote against the APNU, y'all check what y'all get. Y'all check what y'all get. And my condolences goes out once again to that relative and friend to see they lost so much of Amerindian people in that boat accident. Oh my God, it's painful, it's hurtful, oh God, I don't know what more word to describe that as. I tell you, that is one of the most biggest, not one of the most biggest disaster happen in this country. And look, the party that it happened to the PPP party, them is to be blamed. You can't blame no wave. Come on, man. If that boat had 2 engines, you understand me? And then so downloaded, how that wave could have turned that boat over. Common sense teaching you the man, oh my God, you go to University of Haifa to know that. Like when the 19th fraud charge, wrong words, president went to come on, wake up, Guyanese, wake up. You people are killing out black people and Amerindian people in this country. Because they don't support them. And we gotta wake up and call a spade a spade.
Good morning, Kadaki. You see, I may go off a little. All of these things that Mohammed is doing, Mohammed is a substitute. Mohammed is an alternative for the PPP. Mohammed is being putting up himself to be the next president. And that is by the help of the PPP. Don't fool yourself. With all these things Mohammed is going through, Mohammed will spend an hour in jail, in lockup talking about. Never. They twist and turn and do all sort of things. They never put him in lockup. You may want to say, oh, how are you exposing, what you call it, the president? If exposing the president would have put the president in jail, he would have never done it. Right? They are doing these things to set Mohammed up as an Indian man for the next presidency. Right? So if the 12, no matter what they do, think they're going to be in there, be governing the country, it would not happen. Right? All these things are game, and Mohammed is playing it well. They are playing it well. Nothing is happening to Mohammed seriously. Don't worry that. And that is including the ambassador also is in this thing too. You remember when she said we can walk around it? Right? You understand me? So I don't think it is a serious something that is happening there with Mohammed and the PPP. And you all study it good. They tell themselves a next black man would never rule this country. And
A pleasant good morning to you, Mr. Kadaki, your listening viewers, and your rest audience around the world. I come this morning with a heavy heart, a heavy, heavy heart, just to wonder, trying to pick up the pieces. Why is it every time the PPP in government, you got mass killing and all these stuff? And I still say that the PPP is a sacrificial government. They deal with a lot of dirty things. You never had quarter these behavior when Granger was running. And the fools, the house slave, the leg bottom, and the rest of the supporters fooling themselves. By now, a lot of them supposed to be dead by poison, by the toxic that backing up in them. Anyhow, my thing is that when you waste our money to brought in two power ship, you could have been looking in the direction of these people that need this comfort to travel on a daily basis. Buy a new boat. You always say that PNC didn't do this and the government, farmer government did do this. Buy a new boat.
Morning, Mr. Amsterdam. There's a piece unit that is supposed to be used in every ocean-going vessel. As a matter of fact, every vessel. It is called EPIRB for short. The thing is, the right name for it is the Emergency Positioning Indicator Radio Beacon. That is being used on vessel at the highest point of the vessel, port or starboard side on the bridge wing, or on the funnel at the top. Now, that piece unit is used at when the vessel should sink and that it is released hydraulically. That's after water pressure. Gives off a radio signal, which would indicate the position, exact position where the vessel is down. And if you check any one of transport vessel, not one of them don't have one of it. I don't think any one of the vessels have something like that on board. Another thing, you check some of them, they have a VHF radio. Yes, it's working, but those at Prica, those at Martica, I don't think they can hear Lighthouse, or Lighthouse can hear them. If they do hear in Lighthouse, Lighthouse can't hear them. All right. So I don't know. All these things need to be investigated thoroughly for the full safety of every vessel that operates the Transport and Harbors Department.
Why they was them so arrogant? All of their eyes will see these people dealing with demons. These people know that them do whatever for install themselves, and because they get the American government with them, all is but because it's the aisle. You see all them innocent life, these people sacrificing people. Guyanese need to come together. They need to come together. The rigged election, there's a reason make them buy out people for certain farm and them little party, so they could get for rigged elections so people can't really know and observe. It's only people understanding. It is so hurtful. People is not from Guyana saying, oh my, look what's going on in Guyana. And this is all because the isle is the island power. But Jagido, Ali, yeah, they dark, yeah, can't plant corn and then expect forget corn. It is so hurtful. Look, them innocent children. It's hurtful. All the sacrifice. You understand? Guyanese need to come together. They're sacrificing with soldiers, with police, and sacrificing people in all kind of position, and then putting people in position for do them evil act. There, you could see naturally somebody in the government in the same thing. Nobody is stupid. If people tell them what to go in the boat and then still go forward, and you see when all them wicked things happening, nobody's accountable, they just play them charging them, and say, we in charge y'all and put y'all little up in the prison and then come out back. Guyanese need to come together. Y'all need to pray and fast. I know unity is all by saying I come from. And I know a lot of people used to guide them young children to unity. And the time them had all them evil wickedness, much less now. People y'all need to pray. Pray and use certain voice. But them same wicked things what Ali, Priya, and all of them doing to people. All them in it, you know. Why you think the Minister of Health, when I hear you was talking to somebody, telling them if you're coming, don't keep nice and that kind of thing. And Edgel and all them going on. So because they know the head is dragging you and right down to Ali. But there's something about the Mohammed still. So much evil chaos happening for distract people. It's so sad. It is so.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. My condolences to all the families of the deceased. You know, it's really, really, really a sad day in Guyana. Really a sad day in Guyana. Why a boat that is 89 years old flying, going through the Atlantic Ocean, taking passengers and cargoes 2 or 3 times a week. The river, that boat should be in some museum or somewhere. They don't want to get rid of it completely. Why endanger people's lives? The government is responsible, not those sailors and captains. It's the government. Government is responsible. So much money, so much all year about the $1 trillion budgets. What happened to the $1 trillion budgets? The $1 trillion, they cannot buy another boat or two to take passengers, and they should be safe. What about the safety? And the government is there to solve the people, not the other way around. And they behave like if the people is there and the people doesn't matter and they are the bosses. They're being paid by the Guyanese people. I don't know what's going on. These young people and all Guyanese should get together and get rid of this government. They're no use. They're thieving the money and suffering the people, and the people should not have a voice. If they go out there to protest, the police is out there to intimidate them and beat them down and shoot them down. Isn't
Karaki, blessings and good morning to you, my brother. Blessings to our listeners from the diaspora and from the four corners of the globe. Karaki, a human being lifespan is 70. I don't believe a machine have that lifespan. I'm not a marine expert, but I think I have some level of common sense. Don't matter what excuse Mark, Philip, and Egil come up with, somebody should be held accountable for this tragedy. And this Mark Philip, he addressing this as an incident. Those guys shouldn't be holding the posts and the ministry that they have been holding, because you as a prime minister for a country addressing a tragedy like an incident and there is loss of lives. Karaki, those guys need psychiatric evaluation because something wrong with them. Something is totally wrong. Karaki, every day you could put your pot on fire. Something tragedy will happen to Guyana. I don't know, like those guys like they sell the soul of the country. If it's not accident on the road and people dying, it's accident in the sea. It becoming like a movie, man. It becoming like a movie. Something definitely have to be done, because if the PPP have to govern Guyana and things like this keep on happening, by the end of the tenure, it mightn't have Guyana, because it's just devastation, disaster, and the sad part about it, nobody is held accountable for nothing. The Adriana, the Henry boys, the Kakakaraki is sad. It's sad. You see, if Mark, Philip, and Ejil had family on that boat, and they were in the dead, they would have been never thinking and talking. So Karaki, I'm out and
Hi, Cam Stevie. Good morning. It is my humble opinion that this government is just feeling the way through. As they come, this is what they do. They just, understand, just going through the motion. They are not prepared for anything. They're not prepared for anything. Imagine something like this happened, and the response is so lax. I heard that thing took place around 10 something. Till 4 something in the morning is when you sending out help. Now they talk about these helicopters. See the thing about it. We're not holding people accountable. We are not holding people accountable. When you hear they spend all of them billions of dollars on the helicopter and the kind of stuff, and now something like this happen. Now something like this happen, and you couldn't get a helicopter to go out there to shine some light on in the dark pitch of night. You understand? I can imagine the horror. I watched a video this morning. A woman say that, she and her baby, they went down. She came back, and a guy gave her a carpet or something to hold on. He went down. He never came. Listen. This is such a traumatic experience. This is such a traumatic experience, in that for years to come, some people ain't gonna fully recover from this. It is for 100, some over 100%. Even listen, 2 is too much. 2 is too much. And you see, over the next couple of days, you're gonna find bodies floating up at different areas. This government really dropped the ball. They really, really, really dropped the ball. And this comes down to, I would want to say, is not rich people, children traveling on these boats. It's not politician children traveling on these boats. They really don't care. They really don't care. And you know what? The racism got us a teacher showed that, we cannot see eye to eye on things that would help to make our lives safer and better. It is unfortunate. It is.
Yeah, good morning to Daki and to the entire show. But this thing we're going now, what the previous caller talk about, the things the country people, but they will not come out. The maritime area is in turmoil, and that boat should not have been out at sea. When President Granger came into power, for the 3 years and 7 months he went, and he did a lot of upgrading in the hinterlands. I'm not saying what happened to them is good, but when President Granger needed them to stand for him, they refused. Look, this last election season, Charity Finance and Sherrod run the whole Amerindian district. And what they do? They look to give the votes to the PPP and to... Now those persons ain't got no love for them. And I'm quite certain that if
the PNC APNU was in power. By now, the Northwest Region 1 would have been fitted out with proper new vessels, not scrap coming from India that cannot work. So these people out there, y'all got to understand. You don't vote for a people because you might say all we hear is straight here. Like, vote for people who will have your love and interest at heart. Because underneath the PNC government, the APNU government, you saw what was being done. That many times Flash Gordon would cuss out Desmond Prasad and Granger Singh and Granger because what he saw, his people are being neglected. And I want us to know that hearing a lot of things, but a $10,000 smartphone telling a lot of words. Because contrary to what Angel is saying and Mark Phillips is saying, we have videos to show the actual problem. And you would hear talk about people paying speedboats to drive along and put them on the boat. We now see what it has caused. If something is thing, the capacity hold out. But many people walk into danger. The same thing happen on minibuses. You might be on the road for long, a minibus would come up, pack you want to get to the designation, you might got an appointment. You jump on and that might be it. We got to think, and when it comes to Edgel talking about life jackets on this boat, picture yourself with a nasty life jacket on your neck for 24 hours. And those boats, I travel on the big boats, are not fitted with enough life jackets for you to think. I could talk about the speedboat across the Demerara River. If you ain't got a life jacket, you gotta come up. I traveled to Wakenham in speedboat. People sat down on the boat, the jackets on the seat, they ain't putting it on. Well, I think Georgetown, Perico to Supernam, you gotta put on your jacket. Well, I never traveled to Bartica, but people have got to know how to protect yourself. But the long distances on those boats, I don't think people will want to don a life jacket. Anyway, I hope that the people who have lost loved ones, I extend my profound condolences to you.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki. We need, Guyanese need to protest. That's the only solution to the problem that is going on in Guyana. Because this would continue until the PVP get out of government. They are not looking after the interests of the people, of the Guyanese people. They are looking after their own interests and they don't care. When things happen, the president come and say, no stone will be unturned. And then next few days, things go into normal. They are distracting the people from the president farm and all the different farms that the government minister and they give them mining land that the minister and their family have. This is a big distraction at the cost of people's lives. And this government, it's not good. And we keep saying it's not good for Guyana. But it continue all the time. People have to come out and protest. They have to come out and protest.
Thank you for your voice notes. It is now 28 minutes to the 10 o'clock hour. You're still tuned to the Guyanese morning time. It's time for me to wrap the program. I know that we have had a burdensome morning, if I can call it that. But let me say this. Especially Wanda just spoke about the run-ins again in terms of people taking speedboat to go and catch up alongside the passenger ferry and so on and so forth. People not paying attention to safety measures and so on and so forth. You know, everything is interconnected. A lot of people are saying don't make this political and so on, but politics, I always say politics affect your every single decision, quite frankly. And those who are telling you not to make it political, I like to call them by their full name. They are a set of jackasses, right? It is political when a citizen has to decide whether or not he can travel by aircraft or by ferry. Because the aircraft will take you from that region 1 area, let me say, to Georgetown in about 40 minutes at most, I will think. I can't remember the travel time. But let's say 45 minutes an hour, or even 1.5. It won't take you 12 hours. And most people would rather arrive in 1.5 than arrive in 12 hours. So it's a political decision. They don't have the resources. Government is not paying them enough. Government is not catering to them enough. So that's a political decision, right? When a captain decides that against all safety measures, he's going to allow people to board the vessel midstream for a bribe, a token, whatever you want to call it, it's quite frankly a political decision because the government does not pay that captain enough. They do not pay enough. And so that captain, despite the fact he's doing a 9 to 5 or a 12 to or a 8 to 12, whatever he's doing, is still a part of the working poor. He's still a part of the working poor. And so when opportunities like these, the ticketing agent who allows people to pay on the side, not through the regular ticketing system to get onto the vessel, because they assumably are making hundreds of $1,000s by way of that to supplement their meager income. It is political. And until we start seeing all of these travesties that we're experiencing in this country as political and stop talking crap, is there jail tell them don't wear life jacket? Let me say this. If the boat has a capacity of 160, let's say, and it has another 40, 50 persons on it as a result of running, where the life jacket coming from for them? If as Rwanda said the life jackets are old and stink and they itch in your skin when you put them on, are you encouraging people to wear them? Those are things that we have to continuously focus on, because at the end of the day, when you wake up in the morning and you can't get a proper balanced breakfast, it is political for the most part. Yes, they are usually people outside of the realm of things because people choose not to engage in economic activities to better themselves and their way of life and so on and so forth. Yes, you're going to find some percentage of that, some degree of that in your society, but for the greater part, it is political decisions that cause people to live under these sickening conditions. And under which we live. And unless you throw the monkey off your back, that is the PPP, well, them ain't no monkey, them is leech, because they're sucking the blood of this nation. You can't expect better. And for those of you who continue to tell us that the PPP got Guyana on a spell and so on and so forth, are challenging the good Christians, are challenging the good Muslims and the good Hindus, and all them Obeah man and woman. Are you people telling me that the PPP blood God's stronger than you one? Y'all answer the question. When y'all answer the question, you could come back and tell me nonsense about who running country and the blood this and blood that. Right? You know the other day I was saying, a friend, and I'm talking about black people because I know too much about Indo-Guyanese community, and so when it comes to that, I am not saying it doesn't exist there, but we could always talk about who been to Obeah man for Thai picnic belly, for Thai picnic no man belly, because she get picked for somebody, child father or husband or something, who could go over a man for kill somebody for peace land, and who could this and who could that. What happened? And you can't go over a man for this government. And you can't go over a man for this government. Only this government can go over a man for you. I'll have a great day. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday. Winston Jordan is not likely to be on, but I have guests tomorrow. There are two women who have been in the political fight for quite a while who should join us tomorrow for, I'm sure, an enlightening program. I'll have a good day. May God be with you, whoever you perceive him to be. Have a great day.